released, and they got the subtitles done then, and I was in the hospital, and then they showed it to me, and I said, forget it. I mean, this is like a parallel genre running, comedy running along with the film. So there was nothing much I could do about it. My agony is with people is it is not an adaptation of Notting. It's it is it's like I would call it literally an inspiration.
Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews. This is the third of my 4-part interview series with Telugu director Mohan Indraganti. In the first episode, we talked about his national award-winning film Grahanam. In the second episode, we talked about Nani's debut film Astachama. And in this third episode, we're going to talk about 2 films. I tried to watch Gentleman on Amazon Prime and Nani's second film with director Mohan. And then we discuss his romantic film, Sammohanam, starring Sudhir and Aditi Rao Hadari. The final episode, the 4th episode, will be about the upcoming film V, which releases on Amazon Prime on September 5th. We should say the other film, V is your third film with Nani.
Yeah,
I did try to watch Gentleman, but the subtitles were, I'm sorry, but they were so awful that I'm still unclear exactly what the plot was. The subtitles called his character not only Jay, but Jeb, and all different names, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's all the same person they're referring to. What?
No, God, it's crazy. No, actually, broadly, it's about these two women who meet on their way back from London, and they share stories about their boyfriends, and when they land, Catherine, that is played by Nivetha, is shocked that her boyfriend looks like that other girl's name I forget. Aishwarya's boyfriend looks like her own. Yeah. So then when she goes to her boyfriend's house, she discovers he's dead, and then she's stunned by it, and then she's wondering how somebody can look like her own boyfriend. And then the mom says, "Look, I'm so grief-stricken that whoever I see looks like me to me." But she's not convinced about it. Then she thinks that something is going on, and she thinks that a lookalike has killed her boyfriend and took his,
Right, and I know. Yeah. So this was Nivetha's debut, wasn't it?
Yes, Nivetha's debut in Telugu.
Yes. Oh, in Telugu. Okay.
So she had already done Malayalam and Tamil films by then. Yeah.
So the parts the problem is there were certain key scenes, like the scene where Jay dies and then Nani takes over the other role, and I was like, wait, who stole what money and why? Why is he doing this?
So basically, because Jai was mistaken for Gautam. They were planning to kill Gautam, but they killed Jai instead. So while dying, Jai says, "Take my place." And obviously Gautam is not able to in a position to reveal that he has taken the place, because then the bad guy is blackmailing him. That's the story.
Right.
So he has to put up with the drama, and then finally, of course, everything comes out at the end.
So this shows how important subtitles are in reaching a global audience.
Actually, later I'll not only subtitles, background music. I'll share a nice video with you, which my sound designer sent to me. How background score can actually change the meaning of the scene.
Oh yeah.
Similarly, I mean, I saw the clip that I met with an accident a week before the film was released, and they got the subtitles done then, and I was in the hospital, and then they showed it to me, and I said, forget it. I mean, this is like a parallel genre running, comedy running along with the film. So there was nothing much I could do about it. The prints already left for the US with the subtitles.
I think I saw it on Amazon Prime. I was like looking at different sites, it's on YouTube or whatever, and it was all the same. So I will suggest Simply South, the streaming service, is doing new subtitles to older films and re-releasing them. So maybe you can make a deal with them, because like I just saw Rakes did new subtitles for Mola Malaram Rajnikant's film, and so that was just a delight, having her poetry for the songs and everything. But anyway, I tried, but I could see that Nani was doing a very good job again with this double role thing, and it was a very different film than us. So you can't pigeonhole you in a certain kind of genre. It seems like you like to switch it up with each film. And then Sammohanam, your last film, which I saw in theaters, sort of an adaptation, loosely adaptation of Notting Hill, I think.
I contest that.
Oh, you contest that? Okay.
Because see, my contestation is this: that see, it's you cannot not be inspired by Notting Hill and My Week with Marilyn. But if you look at the plot, actually, it's a story of the father, not of the son. You know,
and that's a character that I really love. The father
and if you look at the plot, there's no similarity except that it's about a guy falling in love with a star. The funniest thing I'll tell you is when I pitched the story to my producer Krishna Prasad, he said, "Oh, this is Bangar Babu," and I was like, "What?" Everybody is initially saying it's Notting Hill, similar to Notting Hill. No, it's Bangar. There was a film in the 1970s in Telugu called Bangar Babu, which means the golden boy.
Okay.
It's about an actress, a very successful superstar actress, falls in love with a railway guard, train station master. She's forced to live with him. I mean, because she's running away from her shoots, an exploiting manager. She runs away from her shoot, and she lives in the small village with this railway guard in his house. So of course, very crudely made and technically very bad and all that. But there's a line in that film where she says, even though I'm an actress, I want to get married and I want to have a normal life, blah, blah, blah. I was like, take Notting Hill, copy from this. So I was just joking with Krishna Prasad. So basically, for me, Notting Hill and My Week, more than Notting Hill, actually, it was My Week with Marilyn, which was a bigger influence, because it's about this unexpected, encounter between. But yes, I was watching Notting Hill for certain scenes. How can we shoot these scenes? For example, there's a dinner scene where they play with the cookie game, so I thought, let me do a similar dinner scene where it's not related to that, but can I light up the scenes like this? Can I do certain things? But the plot, the character arcs, the journey is very different from Notting Hill. Yeah, and that's why I actually acknowledged the writer-director of Notting Hill and the writer-director of My Week with Marilyn right at the beginning of the film, because I don't want to take away that. But I basically contested with a lot of people saying it's not, because I personally detest stealing from other films. I would adapt if I adapt. See, for example, in the Importance of Being Earnest, if I had not told, I don't think most people would have known here in Telugu what it was. And I also made a comedy called Ami Tumi, which came after Gentleman, which is a farce, a very small film, which was an adaptation of Richard Brinsley Sheridan's play called Duenna, which I don't think anybody would know. It's written 100 years before Importance of Being Earnest. It's written in the 1775. So I would always make it a point to acknowledge when I'm taking a source. So this was.
Well, I'm not complaining I'm not. And I wasn't trying to say that you're stealing, because I think how many different ways has Shakespeare been put on? How many different? I mean, I've seen operas of Macbeth. You can take the source material and you can make it your own, and that's. I think you have the idea, like you said, the idea of the actress in this normal setting, normal house, and her. Essentially, what I loved about it is she fell in love with the family first, more than the guy. She fell in love with
The reason for that was actually the idea I got was when I was filming a film called Golconda High School, which was my film after Ashtachama, which is a sports drama. We were filming in a house. I remember the entire family, they skipped work that day. They didn't go. They were all sitting and they were watching. They didn't know how films are made. So they were fascinated by it. And I remember the owner of that house, the lady, was not allowing us to use any props. Initially, she's saying, no, don't touch that. That's expensive. Don't touch the painting, blah, blah, blah. So we were like very respectful and saying, no, ma'am, we won't touch this. It's okay. But by the 4th or 5th day, she fell in love with the process so much. And she was like saying, no, you can use it. It's okay. You can do that. It's okay. You can do this. It's okay. And they were giving us food, home cooked food to eat, and then sharing with us things with us. And they were sitting with the cast and asking them how do they act? How do you do romance? How do you manage intimate scenes? Stuff like that. And the father had, I think, some visitor the owner had a visitor who's a film buff, you know, and he was telling me, look, I always wanted to be an actor, and my father never allowed me to. Now I'm like almost into my government job. I built a beautiful house, blah 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 blah. But this thing will remain with me. I can never be an actor. So he was asking me, can you give me any small role? I'll give you my house. You can come to my house and shoot. I'll give it for free. So I said, why not I make a story about, why not I make this the setting where accidentally a movie mad father lends the house to shoot. And then this guy is an artist who hates films because he thinks filmmaking is all fake and the world of cinema is all hypocritical. And then he's forced to teach the Telugu language to these beautiful actors who has a past. Then I thought it would make, an interesting conflict point, to generate drama. That's how it was born. And then, of course, I went back and saw Notting Hill so that I won't repeat what Notting Hill was doing. Because one of the flaws for me, I don't know if you noticed, one of the flaws in Notting Hill for me is the way Alec Baldwin suddenly pops up into the narrative out of nowhere. Alec Baldwin comes and he starts acting really nasty with Hugh Grant. I have no clue as to why. Suddenly, it's almost like the writer said, "No, I want to have a conflict now suddenly, and let me bring a boyfriend into the story." And then suddenly he comes and he thinks that Hugh Grant is a waiter, and he makes these insulting remarks, and Hugh Grant swallows the insult and he moves away, and then he tells her, "Look, hey," and then of course he goes to the shoot, and then she says something nasty about him, and of course the rest of it follows. So for me, I wanted more as to why she's unhappy with Alec Baldwin. I didn't have any clue. I don't know if I missed it, but Alec Baldwin just came because there was an extraneous conflict point needed at that point in the story. Right. There was nothing. It was not planted in the film for me earlier. For me, there was no clue about his arrival into the narrative. So I thought, no, let me put some clues to. Of course, there has to be a boyfriend. There has to be a past, but I didn't want him to pop up suddenly into the narrative. So I kind of put those phone calls and stuff like that. So I was interested in how Notting Hill was structuring its screenplay and saying, okay, I don't want to repeat what it did. And I realized that Notting Hill is a very clever reworking of Roman Holiday.
That's true.
Very nicely changed the settings, and it even ends with the press conference, but beautifully done. So basically, my agony is with people is it is not an adaptation of Notting Hill. It is. I would call it literally an inspiration.
Inspiration. Okay.
Even Roman Holiday. I remember putting a note on Facebook saying, "Don't say it. I'm ready for an argument, for a debate with anyone."
I re-listened to my review today after I had come home and seen it in the theater, and I said it took me halfway through the film before I said, "Oh, this is inspired by Notting Hill." But oh my gosh, Aditya Rao Hadori was so luminously beautiful, and she's just like otherworldly. She's so beautiful.
That's what I wanted her. I chased her literally to cast her. She was very busy with Padmavat and all those films. She didn't have days. I had to wait for a couple of months to cast her, and she was willing to do. But she said, "Can you wait? Can you wait?" And we waited, and it worked.
Yeah, she just, I really admire her career. She's making very interesting choices in all different industries. I just saw a Malayalam film that she did recently that came straight to streaming, where she doesn't speak a word in the movie, and her face is so expressive. You could just see all of these feelings playing across her face. She's one of my favorites. Please do join me for the last episode in this 4-part series of my interview with director Mohan Krishna Indraganti, where we talk about the upcoming film V, coming to Amazon Prime on September 5th, starring Nani and Sudhir.
I would say V is a mystery action drama which tries to blend neon war, film war conventions with my favorite Hindi masala dramas. I would call that, if you ask me to define. Because when I called him and said, "Hey, this thing, I think you should you listen to it and tell me." Then he heard it. It's a bizarre narration also, because he just broke his nose in the shooting of Jersey and he was bleeding literally. He was holding his nose like this and listening to the story. And I was telling him about how he's killing people, as a psychopath. And at the end of it, he said, "So what do you want me to do, sir? Which role do you want me to play?" I said, "I think you should play the bad guy." He said, "That's what I want to do." And I said, "But this is your 25th film. Are you okay?" He said, "It's okay, sir. This is what I want."